Okay, so it's February 9th, 2026, and the news cycle is absolutely buzzing. But among all the headlines, there's one story that's quietly blowing up into a massive international incident. And no, it's not about diplomacy or military action, it's about a cricket match. A single game that's become the flashpoint for a rivalry decades in the making, with $250 million just hanging in the balance. Let's break down what's happening in Colombo.
So to really get why this is all hitting a boiling point right now, let's just take a super quick scan of what else is going on in the world today. I mean, we're seeing huge political shifts, like in Japan, where a brand new supermajority government is promising some major changes.
And at the same time, you've got tensions flaring up in Hong Kong, where media mogul Jimmy Lai has just been handed a landmark 20-year sentence. So yeah, things are pretty tense out there.
Now check this out. On the diplomatic front, India, who is one of the main characters in our story, is right in the middle of these really important talks on trade and defense over in Malaysia, so they're busy making moves on the world stage.
And while American football fans are celebrating a huge Super Bowl win for the Seahawks, another massive global sports tournament is staring down a crisis that has absolutely nothing to do with what's happening on the field. Which, of course, brings us to the T20 Cricket World Cup. You know, the fastest, most high-octane version of the game. But the real drama, the real explosion, is happening off the pitch, where a political boycott is threatening to grind the entire tournament to a screeching halt. Okay, let's dive into this.
All right, so picture this. The stage was set for February 15th in Colombo, Sri Lanka. India versus Pakistan. Now, this isn't just another game. We're talking about the most anticipated, most watched matchup in the entire T20 World Cup. It's a guaranteed global spectacle. So here's the billion-dollar question. Well, actually, the $250 million question, as we're about to see. What if the game just doesn't happen? That is the massive cloud hanging over the entire world of cricket right now. Because as of today, the Pakistan team is refusing to play. And they're using a very specific, very powerful clause in their contract to do it. They're pulling out this legal term, force majeure. It's basically a fancy way of saying some unforeseeable, unstoppable event has happened that makes it impossible for us to play. And what is this big, unforeseeable event? A direct order from their own government. They've been forbidden to play against India as a form of protest, to stand in solidarity with their ally, Bangladesh, who got disqualified from the tournament last week under some pretty controversial circumstances. And honestly, these two quotes from the captains, they tell you everything you need to know about this deadlock. On one side, you've got the Indian skipper Surya Kumar Yadav, just cool as you like, basically saying, our flight is booked, all business, total focus on the game. And then on the other side, Pakistan's captain, Salman Agha, makes it crystal clear that his hands are tied. We will follow government orders. You can just feel the standoff right there in those two sentences.
Right, so you have to understand, this isn't just some spontaneous protest. Oh no, this is a strategic power play. After a marathon 4-hour meeting, the Pakistan Cricket Board, the PCB, basically handed the International Cricket Council, the ICC, an ultimatum. 3 conditions, non-negotiable. If you want us back on that field, you have to meet these demands.
And this is where things get really interesting, because this is the moment it pivots from being a boycott to a full-blown, high-stakes negotiation. Look at these demands. Number 1, financial justice. Translation, we want a much bigger slice of the revenue pie from the ICC. Number 2, bilateral resumption. They want a written, binding promise from India to start playing them in head-to-head series again. And third, the handshake protocol, which is a direct shot at that whole mess from last year's Asia Cup, demanding stricter rules on sportsmanship.
So you might be wondering, okay, it's a big deal, but why is everyone totally freaking out over one single game? Well, it all comes down to one absolutely staggering number that has the entire sports world holding its breath.
$250 million. Yep, that's the estimated revenue from this one single India-Pakistan match. We're talking broadcast rights, sponsorships, the whole shebang. $250 million is just gone if this game doesn't happen.
And you can bet when that kind of money is on the line, the pressure is immense. The phones are ringing off the hook. You've got broadcasters and sponsors already threatening legal action. The ICC is throwing around phrases like material damage, which is basically code for you're looking at huge fines or even getting suspended. But so far, Pakistan is not blinking. It's a massive, high-stakes game of chicken.
So, what's the ICC saying in public? Well, their official statement is very careful. They're basically saying, hey, we can't do anything about the political stuff with Bangladesh, but maybe we could talk about the money later? It's a classic non-answer, right? And the clock is ticking. We're expecting a final go or no-go decision on this boycott today.
Okay, but to really, really get how one single match has this much power, enough leverage to hold an entire tournament hostage, we've got to rewind the clock a bit. Because this whole standoff didn't just appear out of thin air. No, it's been simmering for a long, long time.
Get this, for 13 years. 13. These two teams have not played a proper bilateral series, a head-to-head tour, all because of the deep-seated political situation. The only time they ever face off is in these big multi-nation tournaments like this one. So every single time they play, it's not just a game. It is an event. It carries all this pent-up pressure. Then you throw in that whole no-handshake drama from last year, and you can see how the Colombo standoff is just the moment where all that simmering tension finally boiled over.
And it all just leads you back to that one big, messy question. When sport and politics get tangled up like this, who actually comes out on top? You've got players who just want to play, hundreds of millions of fans who are desperate to watch, and a literal fortune at stake. But the game itself? It's become a pawn in a much bigger geopolitical chess match. Whatever decision is made today, it will prove that in a rivalry this intense, the biggest battles are often fought far away from the field.